Now, the big question raised today by events in Thailand and indeed here in the Ukraine is, why is it kicking off everywhere, to coin a phrase? Here's our cultural and digital editor, Paul Mason.
It's more than 4,000 miles from Kiev to Bangkok, but there is street fighting in the Ukraine and street fighting in Thailand. But are there any common factors?
It's to do with a profound disaffection with national politics, a loss of faith in formal representative democracy. People have the ability to vote, but they don't feel they really have the ability to influence the decisions that affect their lives.
One thing for certain is that these are old conflicts involving splits within the elite. This was the scene 7 years ago when the so-called Yellow Shirt movement forced a military-backed overthrow of Thaksin Shinawat's government in Thailand.
We є герої.
And this was Ukraine in 2004, the same basic conflict between Western-looking forces and pro-Russian ones that is going on now. As we watch these events unfold, there are always specifics. But if you look at some of the major protests this year, a pattern does emerge. A rising middle class in an emerging market with decent growth versus an elite that can win elections but which looks old-fashioned, corrupt, brutal. That was the background to the Turkish protests, which saw young, secular, middle-class people pitted against supporters of a conservative, Islamist ruling party. Many of those who occupied Taksim Square were professionals who said their lives were being blighted by a government beyond control.
There's an enormous amount of wealth being made. There's dramatic growth, but it's not reaching neither the working classes nor the middle classes. Nothing ever seems to change, that they can't get new decisions on whatever priorities they think important, whether it's culture, the environment, education. Everything seems to be going into the pockets of a small rich elite, and the rich elite seems to be only interested in power.
So from Brazil to Bulgaria to Bangkok, this is the year the protest meme spread way beyond the demographic of Occupy to countries and classes that had looked content.